That. Howdy, everybody. It's a GLEC broadcast day here at BW. If you were tuned in earlier, you saw Smash take that unfortunate last-minute loss to Ohio Wesleyan. However, Overwatch is here to avenge that loss and extend their record to a nice little looking 3-0. So.
hmm I'd say they are looking to extend to that 3-0 lead after beating CSU in week one and then beating University of Mount Union last week, which was on the main GLEC stream, not on here. So we are back after a week off.
And I will not lie, very confused about that hazard ban now thinking about this map. They never play hazard here.
So
Um,
they might have wasted a ban, I think, then,
Low
right?
key because they kept the hazard open for later maps and like on the Gleck broadcast for anyone who tuned in, map 2 they ended up banning out the Zarya, so grilled cheese swapped to the hazard and was arguably more efficient with his gameplay.
hmm
But what we're seeing right now is pretty much how the set of the season has been going. With Scarecrow in the lineup, it's going to allow Satney to move a little bit faster, and it is just going to allow him to be kind of that frontline damage dealer. He's able to find one. Unfortunately, the trade back from Dimitri, able to get two. Grilled Cheese able to equalize numbers, but no finish quite yet. Rapid able to find one. Ohio Wesleyan able to get the point and able to finish off grilled cheese, meaning that Rapid and Plastic Tea going to be the last two alive. Rapid barely able to get out of there with his life. Satney going to be kept up just barely by the combined healing of the Lucio and the Kiri. It's going to allow for maybe a little bit more of an extension as we see Satney in there able to get one. Hero's going to be able to trade it out as Rapid will drop. The Diva Bomb is going to be coming in, unable to find any picks. And it will allow for Satney to continue his reign of terror. Finds another onto the pick of the Ash. One man left. He's going to be hunting for it and is able to find it. Plastic T going down in that chaos, but Satney and crew, they're going to be able to find these last two picks. Rapid going to be able to clean that up. Satney with the last kill. Not quite a team wipe because of the respawn, but it's going to force a big stagger here. Is BW now getting their first points on the board? Ohio Wesleyan able to bring it halfway to completion before the Yellow Jackets able to stall and start their own point growth. And Ohio Wesleyan fully grouped back up. It's going to be the first offensive that they've been able to push now to try and reclaim this space. Grilled Cheese getting into that backline, able to create a lot of chaos and a lot of damage, but Rapid's going to be the one to find the first pick, able to finish the second. Grilled Cheese finding the third. It's going to be the fourth from Cheese. Last man alive will be
Wow.
picked off by Rapid. It's the full house collected, and BW able to not only get those picks, but also the first ones with ults on the board from the tank and the two DPS. They're already online, and those two supports not far behind.
It looks like BW's taking a really good lead here, or just kind of more of like a positioning on the map from when they first started.
Yeah, able to really rally back from that first point that arguably they should have won, but were unable to do. Apex Shadow on that Reaper. He's able to find the first pick onto Plastic T, but BW, they have all of the ults necessary to do it, and Satney, he's going to be able to find two. Rapid will find another through the Lucio ult, shutting it down and forcing the last two players from Ohio Wesleyan on to the defensive. That is going to be a loss of the Lucio ult for the side of Ohio Wesleyan. Granted, BW having to burn three, so now ults are even, but charge, it's a completely different story. But in all honesty, that might not even matter. Only 10% left for BW. As I say that, Satney's going to pop his ult. The Curie ult's going to come in. Plastic T able to find the second. The Reaper ult is actually going to be able to find two, but the Echo from Rapid will be able to find
Oh,
it. Grilled Cheese able to clean those last two. Full team kill. No one able to touch. BW takes the first point on Ilios. After a little bit of a scuffle at the beginning,
hmm
confidence in the end.
So very much confidence in the end. Guy, me over here sitting on the edge of my seat. I would say with Grilled Cheese able to clear off there and Rapid with the alt of being on Reaper there. Very well done.
Yeah, I was gonna say the replication just at the end, able to provide just enough pressure before it had to come down, allowing Rapid to chip that Reaper down, be able to survive that, make the conversation still to be had, because without that replication, without that alt there, BW could have been looking at losing that point. And while I don't necessarily have fear that it would have been a hard regather, losing control in any way whatsoever, always questionable in that end.
Mm-hmm.
Plastic T going to be going that Juno off the start, but just for the speed ring, swapping back to the Kiriko for this. And the rollout from Scarecrow already getting big positioning and able to provide some of this pressure. We'll see how it pans out. And Satiny, he's going to find the first pick, as he has been doing on that Vendetta. And him and Scarecrow are just going to keep that pace and pressure on
Wow.
high. Big damage is going to be the finish onto the Czar. The Lucio low, he's hunting for it, unable to find it, but doesn't even need to really rush it. Will come back to point, and they're able to get that first start of the cap. And this is one of those points where they were looking even more competitive in that streamed match on the GLEC broadcast, where they were able to hold that 100-0 penalty. It was that Lighthouse Hill where they had a little bit more of a struggle. So looking to keep things just as clean as it was last time. And with another clash, Satiny over halfway to his ult already. Nobody else, well, a couple people on the BW team actually sitting a little bit closer, but Satiny, he's going to have to get a little bit active. He's able to find the first onto the Sojourn. The pressure from Ohio Wesleyan is going to be mounting. Satiny able to maneuver around this Zarya, putting in big damage, but
Oh
no
my
kills
God,
quite to be
Satiny!
found. As I say that, I lie. He's able to find one. Rapid collects another. Satiny continuing to follow, keeping the pressure on high, and when things got just a little bit scary, we were starting to worry, maybe just a little bit, able to prove the power of this new hero here in Overwatch. Vendetta, even after the nerfs, still kicking it just as hard as she was on release.
I'll say he was bobbing and weaving through every single one of those Arya attacks earlier. Oh my.
Yeah, I was gonna say keeping that mobility high is like a big thing with Vendetta. And Rapid, maybe a preemptive pop on that ult, but he is gonna be able to get into the backline, able to do a little bit of damage, not that far from the ult, might be able to pop the Death's Blossom, able to get a little bit, finds the first with it. Satiny gonna combine with some of that more damage. Zarya last one up, but he's just gonna get decimated by, it says Plastic T, but realistically that was the whole team right there, just all shooting into that Czar. And now if you're Ohio Wesleyan, you've only got like one touch here, if that.
Mm-hmm.
With 10% left, it's going to need to be nearly flawless from here on out. Unfortunately for them, Satiny's got that ult in the back pocket along with the Graviton Surge. Oh, and the max charge,
Oh
it's
no!
just going to come down.
My
It's
God!
massive. It's all over the screen. Able to find 3, looking to collect the last 2. Scarecrow going to get the final touch, but it is going to be Satiny looking to close. Plastic T with the snipe. And that's one of the things that we saw on that GLEC broadcast. The efficiency that BW has had with their ults throughout this entire season has been nothing shy of immaculate. If you were watching that broadcast, Circuit Royale, it got a little shaky. Mount Union starting to push around the corner, and it took 2 ults, and I'm assuming it's the same 2 that we are about to see. It's actually not the same. No, it is the same 2 because they also used it here.
Oh
The
wow.
combination of that Graviton Surge and Satiny, whether it's the Vendetta or the Hanzo even, as we were seeing on that main GLEC broadcast, just able to provide so much pressure no matter
Mm-hmm.
what character he's on. And that combination with Grilled Cheese's ult with Casey
Mm-hmm.
on that Czar, it has just provided so much pressure. And it's something
Mm-hmm.
that, honestly, if you're facing this BW team, it's a lose-lose situation no matter what you ban out round 1. If you
Mm-hmm.
ban the Vendetta, you still have the pressure that Satiny's able to provide on other
Mm-hmm.
characters. If you ban out the Zarya, Grilled Cheese is just going to swap to Hazard, and then the Hazard is going to be able to follow up on the pressure that Vendetta is making, arguably better. Or if you ban out the Hazard, you're going to see what just happened.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, at least in this round 1, there is no good option.
No, and I think with the BW squad too is like I mean like you're saying that it just shows that like how versatile they can be with the character selections that they have, you know. Seeing the time that they put in over these past year or even last semester as well,
Hmm.
like they put themselves in a position to where a ban doesn't really make them flinch as much, you
Yeah.
know? Like they're able to adjust it
Hmm.
to a point to where that they can still be successful on the map.
Yeah. And I don't even know if versatility is the correct word for it because there is
Yeah,
versatility, but I'd argue it's more synergy.
yeah.
Everything that they play with the ban system that GLEC implies, where you only get one ban per role per map,
Mhm.
the amount of flexibility that everybody has in those roles provides just so much pressure that most teams don't know how to counter it. Most teams
Mm-mm.
don't know what to do. And like
No.
even with the most limited that we have with Scarecrow, who is working on his depth, he's primarily on Lucio. If you know he's going to be in the lineup, okay, fair ban, whatever. The other, he's going to pick up Juno, and
Mhm.
then the other person who's in the lineup, most likely Plastic T, can play pretty much everything under the sun. I'm not going to lie. She can cover pretty much whatever. And there's a insane amount of value to be had in players that are flexible, but also that it's not flexibility that requires a complete shift over in how you play.
Mhm.
Everything within that flexibility applies to the same identity that BW has, which arguably Overwatch is in right now, which is an incredibly dive heavy, stay, keep applying pressure, your foot is on the gas and you are not letting it off.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
as we go into this next map, it's going to be a push map.
Mhm. And it looks like they're gonna be on run. Run. You could do that, but they did ban Czar.
Yeah, it's the Runasapi band coming through, so it or the Runasapi pick, so it is going to be that push map. So it is going to be the one with the robot in the middle that is going to be moving back and forth. You could describe it as almost like a tug of war, but
Mhm.
it's not like a tug of war in the sense that you're trying to pull it back. You're trying to push it to the other side. So it's a
Mhm.
little that analogy is a little strange, but it works. It's a good
It
way to
does
think
work.
about it, where you're moving
Mhm.
this middle point. It's going to be the Zarya ban and the Sojourn ban, which fair, but also for BW doesn't really do anything. And for the side of Ohio Wesleyan, they were playing the Czar, and also BW is swapping over to what I would argue is their main five. So
Mhm.
really, it's a stars aligning moment. You were going to see. I would expect if I've got to call this from a mile away, it's going to be Hazard Vendetta. We're going to see a Sim at the start, swap over to the Sombra, and then it's going to be Wu Yang and Juno. Because
Gotcha.
I think that's what they ran for push last time,
Mhm.
and I'm calling this from a mile away, and it's going to be kind of wild if I get this right. I'm not going to
I'm about to
lie.
say I think you might be getting it right because I mean you have I mean you obviously did cast last week, but let's
I
say
know
let's
my
say
teams. I
a
know my
little bit.
people,
Yeah, I'm
man.
about to say.
Oh, there it goes. I know my friends. What can I say? I know what's up.
So
But no, yeah,
yeah, no, as we kind of get going into this, what are you looking to kind of see BW do to kind of continue what they've been doing these past like 2 weeks going into this next round?
I don't think there's anything they need to change. I think they need just to keep playing to their own identity. They found
Mhm.
they're asking if we're ready. They found a system that works for them. They found this setup that is not only congruent with everything that their players want to play, but also congruent with the attitudes that players have. Because
Mhm.
I know in previous years where things haven't been able to quite work out, where the pieces haven't quite slotted together, there have been talks internally where it's like of players overextending,
Mhm.
specifically Satney, who used to be a primary tank. Now sitting on that DPS role, especially with something like Vendetta, he's able to play. Oh, I see it. Oh, I saw something. Especially with Vendetta now being in meta, where she has these movement abilities that allow her to play so far up, but still allow her to pull back. And then the again synergy that comes with someone like Casey Grilled Cheese on the tank, whether it be that Czar who's able to from afar be like, hey, you can't die for a couple of seconds, or it
Mhm.
be on the Hazard where he's able to just say, hey, you now have a friend who is in frontline with you. Let's go kill them. Like you have that consistency in the general game plan
Mhm.
where you don't need to change identities map to map. Things stay consistent.
Mhm. And you
Let's go, baby. Come on. I am a little surprised to see Rapid on the Sombra from start. I know they used Sim for rollout last week. Um, but if they just didn't see value, especially in a map like Runasapi, where it's gonna take a second no matter what, and you can't really gain too much distance off of using that, especially if you have the Juno out, so you get the speed ring anyways.
Hmm.
Um, that's fair. But also, this is something where we saw it week 1, and I will not lie, and I said this on broadcast last week. Um, Me and my roommate questioned this pick. We were very worried, and we thought Sam was a little insane.
Okay.
However, we saw the value in it, especially when it comes to isolating fights and isolating picks. And this is something that this comp especially can really benefit from, as we're going to see Satni start to get in, is going to get dropped by that JQ, but Sam in that back line, he's going to be able to provide a little bit of pressure and potentially take the front line off of BW, meaning that they can get Satni back into the mix, get a little bit of that reset, and it is going to be Rapid able to find the first pick onto the tank, and that might just be the go button even without Satni. You don't even necessarily need your main DPS if your secondary is going to be putting up these numbers, and especially if Grilled Cheese on the Hazard, he's going to be able to get in there and provide so much pressure. But Satni now back into the fray is going to find 2
Comes back just absolutely ready to go.
at the perfect moment. BW with control of the robot, obviously giving up a little bit of space. However, now with that control, can start to play their win condition and can start to play their style. They don't need to be holden to whatever the enemy wants to do. They set the tempo, they set the pace. And Grilled Cheese with
Wow.
the Hazard, this is one of the things that we talk about. We're talking about isolating picks. The wall from Hazard allowing you to just seal someone off from the rest of their team, especially on such an important character like the JQ, who is going to be, in all essence, your front line. Being able to get that pick, if you can get it even 2 or 3 pushes, that's so much free space that Ohio Wesleyan just will not be able to contest. But now it is going to be another one of those isolations. Grilled Cheese finding the pick
God.
on to the Cass. And now it's Ohio Wesleyan just put into stun lock. You want to push as a 5, but as soon as you try to push the inners, try to take anything but the main route, one of your players is isolated and instantly dead. And you're like, okay, let's just push down the main route. If you go the main route, you're leaving the side route open for Rapid to get the flank. You allow for him to just get so much invisible pressure
Hmm.
and easy pressure.
They just gather so much information in such a short amount of time, just from and grilled cheese and Satiny able to take down 2.
Yeah, the ult from Grilled Cheese coming out, able to get it. And again, another full house. Those two, Satney being the big part of it, but Grilled Cheese still getting so much pressure throughout that entire thing. And this is looking just like last week. BW now not in their spawn, but looking in the bottom, like looking down the line that they need to be at. And for most of these players, no deaths so far, able to keep so much pressure. Grilled Cheese able to find one. DeBoss Baby able to get the pick, and that's the shutdown of the high noon, and it's the go button. Sam getting hit down to low health Rapid. He's able to heal himself back up, but it's Satney able to find 3. It's a team kill. I don't quite know if they're going to be able to get the touch before Ohio Wesleyan is able to group back up, but it's going to be very tight. But if anything, BW, I mean, they're going to have so much pressure. Sadney, the biggest alt known to man, he's able to
Oh
find
my
one through the
lord.
chaos. It'll be JQ able to find a pick onto Grilled Cheese, but it's Rapid and Satney finding so much pressure. The support's getting
Oh
into
my
it even
god.
at the end. It's flawless gameplay. I have nothing to say. I have not seen a team be able to stop this plan yet. And it has been 3 weeks of this nonsense. There is nothing slowing these guys down.
No, not at all. I mean, those isolated picks like you're talking about, like they executed that 3 different times to perfection. Like with the Czar, I think it's with the Czar twice, I believe.
They did it
Insane.
twice under the JQ, one time onto the
Yep.
Cassidy.
Hmm.
It's madness. The amount of just free picks that they're able to get away with. And I mean, that's the thing. That's the reason that you want to ban out the Hazard. Because
Hmm.
if you go to Grilled Cheese's page, I think Hazard is his most played. It is easily in that top 3. He has so much proficiency and so much like time on that. I okay. We're looking at Hero SR. That's why, not just time played, but still
Yeah.
everything in plat and above, like tank wise. He has so much proficiency on this Hazard.
Hmm.
That's the thing. the amount of impact that he's been able to find consistently on it is immaculate. There is
Mm-hmm.
no other word for it. And now, if you are Ohio Wesleyan, here's the problem. You've used your 2 bans to target the tank player. Neither of them have worked.
Mm-hmm.
Your next plan, I can almost expect this, is going to be, okay, oh wait, hold on. I thought that
There's
was
no,
them. I thought
no,
that
just
was them
asking.
saying it. Is going to be to ban out the Vendetta. Shut down their aggression, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't work. I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't work. And also, if it does work, map 4, all 3 are in. You have no options. At this point, you are,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of a better term, you have lost the game. Because, okay, let's say you ban out the Vendetta. Okay, and you win map 3. Great job. Map 4, she's back in. Unless BW decides to ban her.
Mm-hmm.
You have no options left. Because at bare minimum, if you are trying to reverse sweep this, which is the situation that Ohio Wesleyan needs, you need to win this map and then 2 straight maps of BW's best comp where you have nothing to stop it. The most that you can do is ban out the the Sombra.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? They didn't play Sombra map 1 and slammed you just as hard.
Mm-hmm.
Your options are limited to 0 at this point.
Yeah, they
And
don't. It doesn't seem that they have too many options here.
I've got a crazy, crazy call. We are going Circuit Royale. They have banned the Vendetta. If they play this the same way as last week, we are about to see a Satiny Hanzo. And what we are about to see is him prove why he is on DPS this season.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is going to happen is I am going to make some snide comment about him potentially being carried, and then he is going to get a 3-piece with his alt. And that is how BW is going to run this. Because that's what happened last week. And if it happens again, I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah, no. And how hard is it, do you think, to switch from like a DPS role or from a tank role to like a DPS role like he has?
It's hard in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Tank is a struggle bus role to be on. It requires a massive level of communication and it requires a massive level of understanding win conditions.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot like that's a horrible example, so I'm not going to use that. Tanks also end up being pretty hard in the IGLing category because they are generally, at least in previous metas, that front point of contact. And
Mm-hmm.
also because it is now down to 1 tank, it is no longer the 2 tank that we saw in, I guess, Overwatch 1, but not Overwatch because the two's getting removed. So it's like it's Overwatch, but it's not 6-6 Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 in 6-6 Overwatch there were 2 tanks. In 5-5 Overwatch there's 1 tank. And that difference means that especially if you're playing like an aggressive tank style, which is something that
Mm-hmm.
Satney really liked to do, he liked to play that Hazard, he liked to play that Czar, the JQ if it was in meta, Doomfist even. Like
Mm-hmm.
there were a lot of things that he liked to play. Those are characters that it's very easy to overextend on, and
Mm-hmm.
they, in certain senses, lack the ability to bring back. So you almost need to have supports hold you on a leash. In the case
Gotcha.
of swapping over to DPS, especially somebody like Vendetta, Vendetta has a million movement options that she almost always has access to. She can jump into your backline, be like, oh, wait, never mind. Ooh, actually, I like this a lot more. I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah,
Sorry, let me
no,
finish
you're
my
okay.
statement.
Yeah.
Vendetta has so many different movement options that allow you to get in and get out at a moment's notice. And it means that you can just, like, you can play around with it. You can
Mm-hmm.
be much more aggressive. Going back to the thing where I said, ooh, I like this, a little bit of an inside the comp swap and a player swap. Scarecrow stepping in here, going to be playing the Juno this time instead of the Lucio. Plastic T picking up the Kiriko. Nothing super surprising there. Rapid on the Echo. We've seen this several times. Satney returning to his original role of tank. Going to be on that Sigma. And we're going to see Grilled Cheese picking up the Soj.
I'll say, just as we said, hey, how hard is it switching spots? He said, all right, I'm going back to tank.
I was about to say, well, I'll show you what's up. I'll go back and run it. But no, Sigma is something that I've seen him play actually a fair amount, especially because Sigma has kind of been one of those tanks where I don't think he's ever been hard out of meta, and I am sure that I am going to walk back into that room and be yelled at by someone who says that Sigma was awful for a couple weeks, which you're probably not wrong. I'm not going to lie. I don't keep up with this game enough. But it's one of those tanks where Satney just has so much playtime on it that the swap in and out I am not scared by. And for the side of somebody like Grilled Cheese, swapping over to the Soj, being someone who's being someone who has played a lot more tank than anything, I sometimes worry a little bit about this swap, especially in stuff like swaps like Soj, swaps like Cass, swaps like Soldier, even to a certain extent Tracer, stuff that is very mechanics heavy. Sometimes it's not that you can get away with having bad mechanics as a tank, but sometimes when you're playing tank, you're not as worried about things like hard hit scan tracking. But we see BW able to really start this map the way that you want, holding the cart to right around this bridge underpass. We were talking about it on the broadcast last week. This is a very hard choke to get through, simply because you are not only working through an enclosed space, but you're also working around a corner. However, it looks like Ohio Wesleyan may have cracked the code. As I say that, Grilled Cheese able to get that pick, might be turning the tides. And as we see, Rapid, he's popped his ult, so he's able to get the replication onto the May and able to get the Blizzard out. So he's going to be able to find a lot of pressure, able to find that pick, able to get the second. And as that happens, Satney comes back online. Rapid completes the 3K, holds Ohio Wesleyan to that bridge cross, and now BW, they're going to be able to push back up, and Ohio Wesleyan is going to have to push through this corner once again. And they were able to do that only utilizing one ult. BW also only able to trade out that one ult. So the rest of the cards are going to be on the table here for BW, as Plastic T should get that fourth ult before this team fight really truly breaks out for the side of Ohio Wesleyan. They're going to be getting that OC, that overclock, right around when things are really starting to pick up. Again, 90% to it. So BW might need to do something with this. It is going to be the response of the Kasune Gates, allowing for a start, and it is going to be the OC pop from the side of Ohio Wesleyan. They're able to get one. Satney finds the pick. It is going to be traded out, though, as Grilled Cheese fell off the map, I guess. So we'll see what happens with that. But BW, they're able to put a lot of pressure on. It is going to be the Blizzard that's going to find Scarecrow. BW, they're still able to keep up a couple of players, but it's going to be Plastic T dropping. Grilled Cheese coming back in with the OC, looking for the pick, just barely off with that shot, and is going to have to back off, regroup with the rest of his team. That Wu Yang ult could be devastating, and it will be. Grilled Cheese going to drop, so will Satney, but Rapid, as the last-ditch effort, is going to be looking for big numbers. Going to get that Graviton Surge, and he's able to find one. The Juno will die. Scarecrow able to pick up this pick onto Soj in the backline. Rapid's a million miles in the sky, but he's able to bring it back down, and we are in overtime. If BW is able to win this team fight, they will be able to take this, stalling Ohio Wesleyan out of getting even a single point. There's only a few players left. Grilled Cheese, he's going to be looking for the flank, able to get big damage on. It's the May on point, but there's a few more that are close by. Rapid going to be able to get the punch. Juno with the touch will get brought down. Soj with the snipe, but not going to be able to get the touch. BW able to keep things clean. Satney with the end of time kill, knockdown. And BW now, they just need to bring it to that pretty much to that first
How
half
many
point.
times do we see at least maybe just 2 left on point there?
I don't know, like at least 4 times,
I'm about to say at
four or
least
five.
4 times that they had in there, and then each support was able to get there just like in the nick of time, I feel.
I was gonna say it was like at least 4 times that there was
Yeah.
only 2 left on point, and there was at least 2 or 3 more times where it's like somebody dropped and as somebody dropped, another person got on
Hmm.
time. So we're looking at about 6 or 7 opportunities where BW really could have gotten broken, but able to barely hang on by the skin of their teeth and force themselves to this point. And it's going to be it's the thing. Oh my god, it's the thing. Okay. So we're looking at a legitimate comp here. This is not a bit. This is not a joke. There is no trolling here. This is a genuine thing they have practiced. Um it's funny, it's fun, it's bad piggies, and I have confidence that they are going to roll here actually. Cuz when I talk about roles and I talk about prior experience on those roles, one of those things that Satney was known for terrorizing ranked with was this hog.
He
So
was. I would
we,
say
we've got
that's what
him.
he came.
We've got him back on it. It's a
That's
return to form.
that's what he came in to tryouts 3 years ago with.
Yeah. And listen, Hog, it's like riding a bike. You do not lose this skill. They may change the character around. They may shift up how things work. They may take away your pig's pen. It does not matter. Show them who you are and return yourself to form. As we see the TP come in, it is going to be Satney already in the back line. They don't expect him, and it's the Sojourn pick online. Grilled Cheese able to get one. Scarecrow may go down, but BW, they have the man advantage, and Ohio Wesleyan unable to step up. It's going to be another TP into the back line. It's Wu Yang down. Bad Piggies is in full form. Rapid able to get the pick. The beam is just so strong, and there's nothing they can do. They're extending even further. Satney and Rapid each find their own. Sojourn is down. There is one man left on point. Plastic T will get the finish, and BW with 3 minutes on the clock close the game out. It is a 3-0 shut down. BW continue the season flawless.
They have they've only dropped 2 maps in 3 games,
Yep.
and that was the first week.
Mm-hmm.
So they're currently on a 7-0
Yeah, a
map streak right now.
7 map win streak across 3 weeks of competition.
Insane.
Truly an amazing feat for this team. I am not going to lie.
Hmm. If anyone's been following BW Overwatch Esports for the past couple years,
It's been a couple seasons of tragedy, I will not lie. As
I will
someone who's
say.
been on the outside and for a little bit on the inside, it has been a couple seasons of tragedy.
Hmm.
But low-key looking like the season where they could do it. They've been able
Hmm.
to put things together. These comps have looked flawless, but Overwatch is a fluid game, and I will tell you, dear viewer, it's going to be a minute till you see these people back on your screen. Next week Overwatch will be off, but if you follow anything about esports, next week is when Overwatch is going to be receiving a massive patch change. 5 new characters, a restructuring of how the internal what do you call it? The internal roles work, and a lot of new balancing that is going to be happening over the next week. This team is lucky enough to have that off time where they can have the ability to adapt and have that time to really lock these things down as they come into their next match. But that's not going to be for a minute. And until that happens, they're going to be able to ride the high of this dominant match win here in week number 3 of the GLEC.
Yep. And we do have a fresh week of games going on next week, where we'll have CCL games on Monday starting at 7 o'clock
So
with
much
the
happening on Monday,
yeah
actually.
with the academy team, and then Smash is playing against St. Xavier for GLEC, and then we have a 9 o'clock game or 9:30 game for our varsity team in CCL, and then on Tuesday Marvel Rivals Day, then Wednesday Call of Duty as well for
Both of
varsity
them.
and academy. Yep. And then next Thursday we will have maybe another CCL game as we have to reschedule that first one possibly.
Yeah, we haven't heard
Um,
back yet, but the hope is a 9 p.m. game for Academy and CCL. You should get that 7 p.m. game for
mhm,
both, or the 7 and the 9 p.m. I believe Varsity is trying to get both theirs on that same day.
mhm.
I know there was discussions. I think somebody has a night class that night, so they might be trying to do a doubleheader on Wednesdays actually.
Gotcha.
Could be
Okay.
wrong about that. So
Yeah.
obviously, check in with them. We'll have a full schedule posted at the start of next week, so you'll know
Mhm.
when to tune in. Obviously, you'll know where to tune in because it's going to be right here or BW Esports 2,
Mhm.
the side broadcast.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less comms, the same action that you're used to seeing, and
Yeah.
the same level of performance from each of those teams.
Mhm.
Again, that level of performance it may vary from team to team, but you'll know what to expect.
Yep. And again, no Friday games next week. Crazy. Crazy thing about no Friday games.
Yeah.
So we will see you all next week.
Peace out. Bye bye.